Good morning. I'm doing this special recording in response to a question that was raised in the White Israelite chat room. We were having a discussion. I was emphasizing how important it is to use the sacred names of Yahweh and Yeshua Messiah. And some of them disagreed and thought that it's perfectly fine to use Jesus Christ, even though, as we've documented in previous live streams, that the word Jesus means son of Zeus, and that Christ means anointed of Zeus. So whenever you say Jesus Christ, you're referring to saying that your Messiah is Zeus. Anyway, so in the middle of this discussion, I point out, well, just look at John 5:43. where Yeshua says, I come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. But if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. And the Father's name is Yahweh, and Yeshua's name would be attached to that, Yah. And he goes on to say that another will come in his own name, him you will receive. Jesus Christ came in his own name, not in the Father's name. So I reason that Jesus Christ is the another, the man of sin, the false Messiah. Well, in response to this, one of the members of that channel, I think his name is Dank Goy, and he has a good comment. And I thought it was very intelligent and made a lot of sense. And so this is what we should do, is we should dig into the scriptures to see what the scriptures are saying. Anyway, he does say here in response that, let me find it. Here we go. Dankoy, this only makes sense if you refuse to read the previous verses so you get the correct context. I'm sorry, but this is a retarded take. Jesus is referring to them accepting John, who came before him. Now, they aren't accepting him. John came with his own name and testimony, and they listened. Jesus came with another testimony, his Father, but they wouldn't listen. That's all it's saying. Whatever nonsense you're posting is, you're reading your own context into the verses. Okay, so then I tell him, I'm putting together a special response to this post. Stand by. Might not finish until later tonight or tomorrow morning. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I also say, meanwhile, Jesus is a Hellenized name, meaning my God is Zeus. See Acts 13, verse 8, where it talks about Bar Jesus, which means son of Jesus, is an interpretation of the name Eliamus, which means my God is Zeus. And then Dank Goy says, reading verses 33 through 47, it's about them refusing to have faith in Christ. There's nothing about calling Jesus the wrong name. The only verse that refers to name in this chapter is verse 43:1. I would love to see how this verse supposedly supports that it's about putting faith in Christ and not into each other. Okay, so that's where we ended, and I started this live stream, and I'm going to continue this live stream by posting a recording by Bro.Rick. I thought Bro.Rick would be especially adept at responding to this objection that Dank Goy has, and because Bro.Rick is very knowledgeable in all the commentaries and that sort of thing. So I'm going to end this live stream here, and we'll pick it up with Bro.Rick's comments on this. Stand by.
Actually, the passage is not talking about John. It is talking about others that would come in their own name. We're just simply pointing out one major one that did get developed in his own name, and that is Jesus Christ. That is the one I think he's mainly pointing at. But there were others, and that's why he references others reference Matthew 24 verse 5, Matthew 24:24, Acts 5:36 and 37, Acts 21:38. I mean, but if he's going to argue the context of the passage based upon the text, he would have been better off saying it was referring to Moses. Why? Because 2 verses down he says, in whom ye trust. So, if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. They were claiming to trust in Moses. That was Moses' name. So he'd been better off to take the context and claim it meant that. But no, he's talking of things in the future. And in our case, these that failed in Acts chapter 5, 36, 37, and some of these others, what was that false Messiah that came, Bachma, or whatever his name was. The numerous other entities rose up as if they were Messiah, and it was all a bunch of garbage. But the one that has stuck, and the one that he's talking to Israelites, remember, the one that Israel has accepted as the Messiah, and this aligns with what Paul warned was going to happen. So we're not talking about the Spirit saying something through Yahshua over here, leading to something different, versus Yahshua saying there's something different. Yahshua himself said it's another. It is another. Paul agrees and uses that term, another Messiah, in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 4. Context agrees. He is talking about Yahshua. Yahshua is talking about Jesus Christ, the false Messiah that was going to come through the grand delusion, or the strong delusion that Yahweh would set up for those that love not the truth and have pleasure in unrighteousness. That's what I think he's really pointing at. Delusion, or the strong delusion that Yahweh would set up for those that love not the truth and have pleasure in unrighteousness. That's what I think he's really pointing at. You know, what is interesting even on that verse, if you look in some of the Christian commentaries, they'll give you all types of other things. For example, I just thought about this when John Gill, in his commentary, he says, which some understand of Simon Magus. So if another shall come in his own name, he says, which some understand to be Simon Magus, others of anti-Messiah. Rather, the false messiahs are intended, of whom our Master speaks in Matthew 24:24. How about that? Reference for one of the passages I suggested. Who would rise up of themselves and not be able to give any proof of their mission, or do anything which might entitle them to the character of the Messiah, a name that would take to themselves, he goes on a little bit other things, but bottom line is, Bar Kokhba, I believe that was his name. Him you will receive. He says, and as thousands of them did receive Bar Kokhba, the false Messiah, who rose up some years after the Adrian's time, and even some of their greatest rabbins, as particularly the famous Akiba, who was his armor bearer. And it is easy to observe that though they were so backward to receive and so much prejudiced against the true Messiah, they were always forward enough to embrace a false one. Yeah, because they want to reject the true Messiah, had the true lineage, raised up amongst the brethren, they have to make a different one, especially if he's not of the right tribe. Remember, we're going to deal with that subject yet.